This is it. This is the list of everything I packed for my trip to Côte d'Ivoire. You've been waiting for this video, so today I'm going to give you all the information about what I packed for my trip to Côte d'Ivoire. So stay tuned. I'm dividing my items in 3 columns. The first one is my personal item, the second one is my carry-on, and the third one is my checked luggage. I flew with United Airlines and Brussels Airlines, so I had 2 checked bags that I could use, and obviously my carry-on and then my personal item. But to be honest, most of my things were in my personal item and my carry-on, and most of the gifts and things that I wanted to bring for my friends and all of that were on the checked luggage. And that turned out pretty good because at the end of my trip, I had 2 empty suitcases that I could fill with a lot of souvenirs and gifts that I could bring back here in the US. By the way, if you want me to do a video on all the things that I brought back from Côte d'Ivoire, just let me know in the comments and I'll make a video just for that. So let's start with the personal items, and I'm gonna look down a lot because I have my list here, but let's start with the first thing, the essential. To have a personal item, you need a good backpack. I like the backpack because you can put a lot of things in it. I like this one is by Maintain, I guess that's how you say it. And I'm gonna put the link in the description of all the things that I'm going to share with you here. I like this backpack because it's really big and it has a ton of pockets, so it's great for easy access. So for example, here you can put like your business cards, your gum and things like that. Right here you can put your mask and sanitizer, and there's a special pocket for the laptop, another pocket for the chargers and all of that. And it also has a thing for your charger, so you can put your power bank inside and then just plug in your phone right here on the side. So it's pretty good. I really recommend this backpack. Very good. And it has that little extra pad here with a zipper here, and you can put your valuables in here if you want. Okay, so that's number 1. It's the backpack. Number 2 is headphones. Definitely headphones. Always. I always travel with my headphones, whether I go domestic or international. Headphones is a must to relax, and also because I don't really like to talk to people on the plane. That's just me. All right. Second thing, obviously, not just because of COVID, but everyday life, you need to have your sanitizer. So pocket-sized sanitizer is a must. I just had 1 on each pocket here to the side, and that was just easy to grab whenever I needed to, sanitize my hands and all of that. Number 2, I mentioned that already, mask. So I had 2 masks on the plane. I had the disposable mask, and I also had this one that is a washable mask to put on top of the disposable one that I already had. I just wanted to have 2 masks just in case. I was going to get on a lot of planes, so I didn't want to get sick or anything like that. So I made sure that I had my 2 masks, and whenever I didn't need them, I could just slide them here in the pocket. Another great item to bring on the plane all the time is obviously wipes. Wipes. People do some crazy things on the plane, so make sure you always wipe the little table area, the arms as well of your chair, the shades for the window. I don't actually sit on the window seats because I have long legs, so I always do the aisle. But yeah, always clean up that area because people put their feet up on these things or whatever it is that they do on those tables. So that was it. Wipes, definitely that. Obviously, another thing to bring everywhere you go, whether you travel or not, is sunglasses. That's something you always have in your purse. Same thing with chapstick, same thing with gum or Tic Tacs, things like that. Okay? Tissue is also something that I always have in my handbag everywhere I go. So bringing some as well with me, my personal item, that was just an obvious thing to do. Another thing that I had both in my personal item and in my checked luggage is medication. So I brought a ton of medication, right? But I needed the essentials to have with me on my personal item. Those were my malaria pills and some Tylenol and my daily vitamins. So I needed to have those easily accessible whenever I had a chance to drink something for breakfast or dinner, something like that, then I could just easily get my pills. Obviously, the electronics, my laptop with a charger, my phone and the charger. I also brought a portable charger, is this one. I really like this one because it has 2 ports here. So you can actually charge 2 things at the same time. That's very, very convenient. I bought this like years ago, and I always use it when I go to conferences or anywhere I go, where I stay for the day, anything like that. Always have that portable charger. Another thing to bring if you go to a different country is adapters. Okay, so because in Cote d'Ivoire they have the same sockets. Do you say sockets? Yes, outlet. Outlet as the ones in Europe. And so it's this one, it's the 2-head, right? And so here on the outside, you plug in the US plug, and then you just put it on the wall. That's this way, okay? There are certain items that I didn't bring because of that, because of the difference in power. So it's 110 and 120 here in the US, and it's 220, 240 over there. So if you were to bring a small electronic, then it will blow up, definitely. My recommendation is not to bring any kind of small electronics. Things like computers, laptops, or phones, they automatically change into the other power level. So just plugging them through an adapter like this, it's no problem at all, okay? But the thing is that I needed to bring some kind of flat iron because I had a weave when I went there, and I needed to flat iron it every day. So what I found on Amazon was a mini flat iron, but not just any flat iron. I wanted a flat iron that had a USB port. That's the point. So I could plug this on my computer and charge it, and I didn't have to rely on the outlet on the wall. So I really like this flat iron. So one more thing in terms of electronics is that I brought a stabilizer, phone stabilizer. I actually barely use this, but I wanted to have it just in case I was going to use it, and I think I used it once or twice. So I had that as well on my personal item. Obviously, something that you need to have on the plane with you is some kind of sweater or scarf. So I had my big heavy sweater that I had on the plane. I was going to take 3 flights to get to Côte d'Ivoire, so I wanted to make sure that I was well covered, so I didn't want to catch any kind of cold. Another thing that I also brought for the plane is a hair scarf. So this is what I had on the plane when I was sleeping, just because I didn't want my hair to be all messed up. I also brought a few snacks like granola bars, but I had a layover in Chicago, and I knew that I was going to use the lounge and spend a few hours in there. So I knew I wasn't going to be necessarily hungry on the plane, so I didn't have to bring a lot of snacks with me. Another thing that I never travel without is my essential oil, and it's specifically the doTERRA Balance. Let's see, here we go. This way, here we go. I like to rub a few drops. I actually have the roll-on thing, so that's the one that I travel with, and I just roll it on my wrist and then behind my ears as well. It's just calming and all of that, you know, because travel is just so unpredictable sometimes. So I just like to have that with me when I travel. Talking about essential oils, something that you also always need to have with you wherever you go, actually whenever you go outdoors, is bug repellent. So I didn't want to get the super toxic ones. So what I did is that I went natural, and I used some citronella oil with some coconut oil, and I just mixed it in a bottle, and then that's what I needed. It smelled really good, so I didn't have to go with the harsh chemical one. So this one was pretty good, I guess. I didn't see a lot of mosquitoes. I didn't get any bites, but you know, do what works best for you. I was still taking my malaria pills just in case. So obviously I had my toothbrush, toothpaste, travel size, mouthwash, travel size, deodorant, and all of these things, you know, in my essentials bags. So I had that with me, and a little bit of makeup. I don't use a lot of makeup, and I didn't want to have makeup on the plane. I just used a little bit like when I landed, just because that's it. Last things that I had was a book, my journal, and some pens. I always have pens on my backpack, so that was easy to get. So that's everything that I had for my personal item. I don't think I forgot anything, but I think that was mostly it. Now let's move on to my carry-on bag, and this is what I had in it. I had a lot of gifts in it and valuables because I just didn't want to put those in a checked luggage like laptops and things like that. So that's one thing. I also had some COVID tests just in case I needed to take one, and I didn't want to get them lost in case my checked luggage doesn't get there on time or anything like that. So I always make sure that my valuables are with me all the time. I also made sure that I had a complete change of clothes from underwear to shirt and pants and all of that because it was a very, very long trip. I think it took me 20 to 22 hours to get to Abidjan, so I wanted to make sure that I had a change of clothes just in case I needed to change. I also had some baby wipes with me just because, you know, to stay fresh and all of that. I always have that when I travel. And also my accessories, so a little bit of jewelry, nothing too fancy. I also had my makeup bag with all the essentials that I travel with. I don't use a lot of makeup again, but that's just something that I wanted to have handy with me. So that's pretty much it with my carry-on. Not a ton of things actually. So now let's move on to my checked bag. So again, I had 2 suitcases. They're like the big suitcase that I brought from Burlington, I think. And definitely don't buy your bags from there because they ripped on the way there. So yeah, lessons learned. So most of the things that I had on my checked bags were obviously the liquids, the big ones, like things like that, like the big hand lotion, the big fragrance bottle, you know, things that you cannot keep with you on your personal item or your carry-on. I also had all the extra medication that I needed, like Miralax or more Tylenol, and also activated charcoal. That's something that I actually needed on the last day there because I kind of got sick on my last night there because of something that I ate. So I made sure that I had some activated charcoal just to make sure that my stomach settles and I could travel with no worries at all. I also had a bunch of books that I wanted to bring and give and donate and all of that. I also had all the items that I needed for my menstruation, so pads and tampons. I also brought different bags because we were going to a wedding. I brought a fancy bag, but I also had a small day-to-day bag like this, just to run errands and go out and all of that. But I also bought a cute one at the market. This one right here. I love it. So that's part of the things that I bought there. And again, if you want me to do a whole video on the things that I brought back, just let me know in the comments. Most of my shoes were in my check luggage. I think I had my heaviest pair of shoes in my carry-on though, just so that my check luggage wouldn't be too heavy. So all the shoes were in there and all the clothing were in my check luggage as well. In terms of clothing, I went for a lot of sleeveless shirts because it's really, really hot. Also a lot of dresses, shorts, swimsuit, obviously, because we spend a lot of days at the pool and the beach, but also something fancy for the wedding and for outings, and as well as some formal wear like pants and dress shirts because I was going to have a lot of business meetings there too. At the end of the day, I opted for things that were not too tight to the body because it's really, really hot. And so you sweat a lot. So you have to think about clothes and colors that will not reveal all your sweat marks on your back and as well as under your arms. And the last thing I had on my check luggage is my pagne. I don't know how you say that in English. I think it's wrapper. Yeah, it's wrapper. So this is what every African girl has, this, something that you use for everything. To cover yourself, you use it to go to the beach, you use it for everything you need. You have your pagne, right? So that's something that I definitely brought with me. Something that I always use when I travel is a packing cube. I have this set that I got from Amazon. Again, I'm going to put all the links in the description. And it's so convenient when you travel because it helps you separate your items. So when we travel with the kids, I have, for example, all the pajamas in one bag like this, or all the underwear in one bag like this, or all my underwear. It helps you organize your items so it's not just pure chaos in your suitcase, but at least you have things separated in bags like that and it's easily accessible. So do you use packing cubes too? This is the best thing ever. All right, so I think this is pretty much it. I'm reviewing my notes here and I think I got everything. Let me know if you think I forgot something or if you're like, oh, and what about this? And what about that? Did you bring this? Let me know in the comments if you think I forgot something. So these were the items that I brought with me on my personal item, my backpack, my carry-on, and 2 suitcases that I brought with me to Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire. If you want to know more about my time in Côte d'Ivoire, I recommend you watch this next video here so you can follow me along and see how my first days in Côte d'Ivoire were like. As always, make sure you like this video, share it with a friend who might find it useful, and subscribe to the channel. That way you don't miss any of my other videos. Until next time, bye.